battery powered lighting for camping or for a power cut. So I had a 2-day power cut. I realised I really hadn't made provisions for lighting for 2 days. So I got a big torch, got some candles. Wasn't really prepared for an extended period of time with reasonable lighting. A torch, of course, you've got to carry around with you. It's awkward. I've got the torches you put around your head. Still, it's awkward. I had one studio light that runs off of batteries, 3,500 lumens. That was pretty good, but it only lasted on my batteries about 3 hours. So I realised I had to sort something out. It happens again. Did my research on Amazon, and purely by coincidence, I've got 2 lights that have come from the same company. I didn't pick them because they're the same company. It just happened. They seem to suit my needs the most from the little bit of research that I could do. I was looking for battery powered lights, reasonable amount of time. You can get incredible torches these days, 30, 40, 50,000 lumens. They only last a couple of minutes or, a short period of time and get really, really hot at that sort of level. And I didn't really want a torch. I wanted something that could be placed in a room and light that room to a certain extent. Chose these 2 because the lantern is 360 degrees of lighting. It takes about 2 of these to light my really big lounge, and that's fine. Just to give you an idea of, we're not talking a lot of money. Like the studio lights for 3,500 lumens cost you 200 quid with decent sized batteries. About 15 quid for the lantern, about £28 for the spot come floodlight. The major difference, of course, between the 2, the lantern and the spotlight, is that's an all-round kind of light. That is a directional light. Because say, obviously they're measured in lumens these days. One lumen is about 12 candles of lighting. Lumen is different from a lux because a lux is the amount of light in a particular amount of area, whereas lumens is your best friend because it's the total amount of light these things are giving out. If you trust the rating, but these seems about right from what I was seeing. 1,000 lumens on that lantern seems about as good as you get for about 15 quid. Runs on 3 D-cell batteries. 1,000 lumens, 2 of these will light up my pretty good size lounge pretty well. 1,700 lumens. Obviously, everything's the LEDs these days, which are that much more efficient, that much brighter than old style lighting. 1,700 lumens is enough to blind you if you're looking directly at it. That's my problem with this. Although it's great, on its own it can light up my big size lounge, but be careful not to look directly at it. 1,700 lumens is a decent amount of light. And the point is, it needs to be able to produce it over a few hours. So, my 1,000 lumen lantern can stay bright around 1,000 lumens for about 12 hours. It's incredible. Not only that, if I just leave it on, a week later, I'm not kidding, a week later it was still lit. Now, obviously it's fading gradually, and there's not a lot of light coming out, but it's not like that's going to give up after a day. It's just going to slowly fade in amount of brightness, and it was still going a week later when I decided that's enough. I want to do this quick video just to give you my thoughts on what I found 2 really useful products. The spot come floodlight, 1,700 lumens for about 4 hours, and then it will start to fade. However, it will give up after about 12 hours. I have to say, I'm going to go over both these in a little bit more detail, but they both have different settings where you can dim that amount of light. So I'm talking about in total brightness because that was the sort of brightness I was after, but they do have 2 different levels, including a flashlight. I'm going to get onto that, where you can extend these run times. But in terms of the lantern, it's going to keep going no matter what, although the light will fade. Just to give you an idea, for not a lot of money, what sort of light these products are giving out. This is my lounge in total darkness. This is my lounge with my 3,500 lumens studio lighting. I'm just giving a comparison because that is running off batteries. The batteries I've got, it's running off a pair of batteries. It'll last about 3 hours. If you want to spend £100 on batteries, you could extend that to about 6 hours. However, it's still not going to give you light all day, but that's the sort of lighting you will get from a £200 product. Now, lighting from the lantern at 1,000 lumens. As you can see, pretty decent, but it would take 2 of those for my lounge. But 2 of those is about the same cost as the portable work light, as they call it. 1700 lumens. That's a lot of light. And as you can see, that on its own, that would be enough to light my lounge. About 28 quid. Just to give you a quick idea of the throw of the lantern and the portable work light. First of all, this is with my 6D cell mag light, just showing you the throw from spot and flood. So it's a very narrow beam. It's 6D cells. This is the portable work light. It's another planet. So it's lighting up the whole of that yard behind me. It's pretty impressive the amount of flood that it puts out. The lantern has no real throw. It's all about local light, so it doesn't really throw that much light. But it does give a lot of local 360-degree light. So both of these I've found really useful. If I get caught out again, I'm going to be confident that I could keep going for 2 days. But in different ways, I'm going to just give you a bit of detail on each of these products. So the lantern, they advertise it as weighing about 400 grams. But with the batteries, and you're not going to use it without batteries, it's 823 grams. That's still pretty light. With batteries, that could give you over a week's worth of light, albeit it's fading rapidly, you know, after that first day. However, 12 hours at 1000 lumens, about 18 hours on its 700 lumen setting, and over a day at its 300 lumen setting. So what do I mean by the settings? So it all operates with a single button. So that's the 700 lumen setting, 300 lumen setting, the full brightness 1000 lumens, and it's flashing mode. I'm not quite sure when you'd use that with a flashing white light. However, it does have a flashing white mode. The point about these modes is that you have to press the button within 2 or 3 seconds for it to go to the next mode. If you do not press the button within 2 to 3 seconds, then pressing the button will simply turn it off. So if I press it on, I think, that isn't the light I want. I want it to go to the next setting. Well, I've already waited too long. It's just going to turn off. So you've got to quickly go through the settings. And then it's off. So I would have preferred it to come straight on at 1000 lumens. It doesn't. However, it's still a great value for 15 quid. Gives out a really decent amount of light. And remember, it's 360 degrees of light. You have a little clip on the bottom where you can do several things, because it's a proper clip that opens up. So you've got options on what to hang that from if you really wanted to hang it from there. But of course you can hang it with that or carry it with the top handle. You do have the option of actually taking this off if you really wanted and having a really blinding light. Basically, this top cap acts as a diffuser. It makes it a softer light. You may prefer it without that. It's also smaller without that. That is an option. The batteries, to replace the batteries, you simply unscrew from the bottom, and there you have your 3 D cell batteries that seem to last for basically ever. And you simply put them back in when you are putting your fresh batteries in. Taking care to line them up with the plus and the minuses, because they don't all go the same way around. And then you have a little, weirdly, it is slightly awkward to put this back, because there's a little, it's like a shape that you have to fit to a central shape, and then you have to twist. So a little bit awkward. Some people have mentioned it's awkward. I didn't find it awkward. I find it a really brilliant little lantern for the money. Goes on forever. I will be confident next time my lights go out, I'm going to have decent lighting wherever I want it. 2 or 3 of these, I am covered. Some people say it has a really useful flashing green light. Even when it's off, the light is flashing so you can find it. However, mine does not have a flashing green light anywhere. Just to mention, it just has the one button which doesn't light up in the middle. The whole thing is rubberized. It will take a few knocks. It's IPX44, which means it's splash proof. You can't submerge it and don't put too much water over it, but it will take a small amount of splashing of water that you may splash over it. If you spilt a drink or something like that, it's going to be fine. But not for long periods out in extended rain and stuff like that. It would not be guaranteed to be watertight. So that's the lantern. I think it's great value. It's certainly 1000 lumens. It certainly seems to go for that sort of lighting. Two of those will light a good sized lounge. You don't have to have two, you could have one, because you know, you can still see pretty much to get around. Now they call this the portable work light. I will say the lantern, I believe, is rated at 10 watts, whereas this is rated at 20 watts. In terms of lumens, and what does that really mean if you haven't got a handle on it, also, in terms of the old incandescent bulbs, 100 watts of light from an old style incandescent bulb, about 1600 watts. So this would be equivalent of about a 100-watt bulb. Some people are arguing whether it is or not. It does seem that way to me. In terms of the lantern at 1000 lumens, it's about a 75-watt bulb. So the portable work light. First of all, you will notice it has a ratcheted handle, which means you can carry it around, or indeed you can balance it at any sort of angle that you want. Slightly rubberized, but it's a harder rubber than on the lantern, whereas the lantern runs off of D batteries, which means, you know, you can have a ready supply. If you was in a power cut, have a ready supply of D batteries, you're never going to run out. As this is basically like a power bank. It's got its own internal lithium battery, which you have to recharge. Now that could not be a big deal to you. If you were suddenly caught in a power cut and you needed to charge it and your only route was a wall charger, you're out of luck. Well, you can't charge it again. Just to say, this has got a 6000 milliamp hour battery at 3.7 volts. But of course you can get huge power, extended huge power banks. Like a reasonable sized power bank now would be 20,000 milliamps. You can get them far bigger capacity in bigger units. The point is, if you was getting yourself ready for camping, or you were getting yourself ready for a power cut, 2 or 3 power banks going to keep that going. Does that run straight off of a power bank? Yes, but it doesn't seem to give its full brightness. So it seems to be reduced brightness if you run it off directly a power bank. However, but it will basically run forever, depending on the size of your power bank. However, for me, I think I prefer knowing I can just stick some D-cell batteries in something like that rather than this. However, this is good for not just power cut, not just for camping, working on your car, working outside, anything like that. 1700 lumens basically going to light up anything within near proximity. One thing it's missing is something magnetic. If you was using it outside, if on your car or something, it's not going to stick to anything. And it only has that one handle, so it's got to be able to rest on that or rest like that. There's no other way to set it up. There's no tripod mount, for instance, or anything like that. So it also has several settings, all running off of its one button. The first thing I will show you is you can use this as a power bank, 6000 milliamp battery. If you plug your phone or something into there, it's going to charge off of this unit. There are 3 LEDs on there which will tell you the status. It will light up red if you are charging your phone. It will light up green if it's been on charge and it's now fully charged. And it will light up red if it's on charge but not fully charged. Everything works off of this one button. I do prefer the button on this because it comes straight on in 1700 lumen mode. That is its brightest mode. The next mode, and it doesn't matter how long I wait, it will then go to the next mode if I press it. Reduced brightness mode, 400 lumens, for which it will run about 8 hours on that setting. And then if I press it again, it flashes red. So if you had it in the car, you could use it as some sort of warning beacon. So it does have multiple uses. It does go really bright. It's not particularly expensive for the mountain light it gives out, about 28 quid. I've just turned that off. As you can see, it does have 2 rings. It has some LEDs around the side, it has some LEDs in the middle. It's the middle LEDs that light up at 1700 lumens, and it's the outside ones that light up at 400 lumens. Again, IPX44, so basically splash proof. And again, the 2 of them together I find really useful. A couple more of these, either of those, you know, I am covered for my next power cut, along with my UPS backup systems for my computer, etc. I'm not going to get caught out again. So I just wanted to share that with you. If you're thinking of getting an LE lighting ever lantern 1000 lumens, or an LE lighting ever portable work light 1700 lumens, I personally found them really useful and well worth the money. So I just wanted to share that with you. If anyone's interested, thank you for watching.
UK